I'm not doing this rubbish again. I'm getting involved. It was a hair on the back of your neck moment, and it was just like,
one of the
wow.
cockerels started crowing. We had to be put on mute. You did a good job guiding us through that, Dave. A very good job.
It was good time back on the green again. That was for good fun.
Just letting the team down there.
A little bit. We're a little bit. You say when you were watching the old videos, are there any old traditions that you'd like to see brought back? I'll only allow it from you. If anybody else tries that. Yeah.
Episode 5.
Welcome to Guy Talks, episode 5. We have with us today Dave Wilson.
Good evening, guys.
A former chairman.
Good evening, former chairman, yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
2016
16,
to 21.
Yes.
Difficult time, obviously, COVID, right at the end of your tenure.
Yes.
Not very good to negotiate, not very fun to negotiate, really.
I think we managed it really well.
No, I do, but it's a lot of stress, a lot of like...
Yeah, I mean, to have no bonfire, obviously previous to that, it was during the war. And to have no bonfire at all was just like, whoa, that was a tough night.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was a tough night. And then it was like, what do we do? What can we do? There wasn't a lot that we could physically do because of the amount of people. You weren't allowed to mix with a lot of people. You had to be careful. So we came up with the idea that they did during the war, which was the candle in a lantern, which I've still got at home, and then with a wreath of flowers around it, and then just a few of us, obviously socially distanced, just to pass that to make sure that it was recognised that bonfire happened basically. And I think one of our other members did a candle as well, actually on the day, which was very cool. Thinking about what we could do, I mean, a lot of people still paid their membership, which was choice, didn't have to, but people wanted to keep the obviously event going for the following year because we knew we'd be back. So I commissioned something for everybody to keep, really, and that was partly paid by their membership, which was the pewter Guy Fawkes with his little COVID mask on badge.
Yeah.
Which I actually went round to as many people as I could personally to actually deliver them.
Yeah. Well, touching on that was actually one of my fondest memories is when you came to me and said, could you design the badge? I was, it's lovely to be a part of something within Bonfire that has a memory attached to it like that. A lot of people say it's their favourite badge, which
That's
is
fair.
We have the badge on our flat caps.
Yeah,
because we have the sort of only have specific badges on the actual caps, ones that we like, and that one we have that on ours.
Yeah, each one was cast individually. So they were all done, and she did an amazing job for me.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, which is. I might sort of have a chat with her, although it took a lot of time for her. She was literally casting them on the side of the road one day.
Oh, really?
Just chilled out, sitting on the side of the road with all a little fire going and a little casting machine. Well, not a machine, a little cast that she'd made. And then just pouring them out in the metal, pouring it in and casting them, sitting there quite happily alongside the road. A few people passing comments as they went by.
Yeah,
but it's, it's what it is.
Yeah,
it's all good.
That's what I love about Bonfire as well, is that you can pull on those little industries that are local, and you can get people that aren't involved in a bonfire involved in some way. It just helps spread the word.
And I think it was very important that we actually recognised it and gave something back to everybody that knew that they couldn't celebrate in the normal way. But and then we came back with a bang the next year, which is cool.
Because we had Zoom meetings, didn't we, Dave?
Yeah.
I always remember, I don't know if I've said it on one of the earlier episodes, that we were sitting at home and I set it up on the laptop. Yeah. And because Dad didn't know nothing like that. And for some reason, we were sitting outside my place and all of a sudden one of the cockerels started crowing. We had to be put on mute.
No, it was fine. It was fine. We had a meeting up at the Wreck. I think there was 6 of us, just sitting around on the logs up just near the fortress.
Yeah,
we obviously had to do sort out a few bits and pieces to keep things in check. So we did a couple of those, and then the Zoom meetings were easier. Loads of people flicked in and out of them, didn't they?
Didn't we have a quiz through Zoom as well?
Yeah, we did. We did a quiz. Any excuse for us to do a quiz.
When you think, you just
kept everyone chatting. which was good. I mean, it was a tough time for everybody.
It was a weird time for the world. That's the weird thing, isn't it? It was the world.
But we have thankfully come out the back of that, and life's moved on, and trying to get back to obviously semi-normal, whatever normal is. That's cool.
A sense of normality within Bonfire. It's hard to find.
Yes, very cool.
So back to the start, Dave.
Yeah.
You probably guessed the question.
Go on.
When did you become a Battle Bonfire boy?
Actually, officially joined the Bonfire Society.
Yeah.
It was 93.
Right.
What I did was the previous year, this is going to be really funny. You know the old flashing glow sticks and things that everybody hates? We actually, as a society, sold them 1 year just to see if we could raise some money. So Martin and Sally, who were part of the Bonfire Society at the time, I met them through another event that I used to do. Said, can you come and help us on a bonfire night, a battle? Yeah, okay. No, Molly, what are we doing? We're selling these. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Right. So, but from what I can remember, I'm going back to obviously 92, we probably made about £800 for the society.
Really?
Selling those crap things that everybody hates.
When you think, it's not surprising actually thinking about it, is it? Because the kids,
they love them.
What we done, because we went to Norvium Saturday and we took Amelia with us. Louise had already preempted what was going to happen, so she had got these little glow things off of the internet and gave them to Amelia so that we didn't have to spend an absolute fortune.
And the amount of people that were coming up to us as well saying, it's broken. Yeah, it wasn't broken when I gave it to you. It was perfectly all right. So how many times has your kid bashed it on the floor?
They can break.
They go, then of course walk away.
No refunds.
There we are. It was a one-off thing we tried. I mean, obviously we know the inconvenience it causes at bonfires that we go to, where they're just in the middle of the road, in the way. It's not a very good look when you're trying to do a procession with lit torches and those things.
It's a clash, isn't it?
I've never really, because for me, they've been around forever, and I've never really paid any attention to them. No. The only time I started paying attention to them was when I had kids.
Yeah.
And I've gone
and they were saying, I
want one of them. And I've sort of thought, why would you want one of them?
Yeah.
But,
it's what it is. That's what they are. It's what we did. Yeah, so 93 was when I joined.
Is that what made you join, Dave?
No. During that evening, watching that procession come down and start to come down the hill, it was a hair on the back of your neck moment. And it was just like, wow. I'd forgotten, because I hadn't been to Bonfire and Battle since Ian Botham. It was the last time I was in Battle for Bonfire.
Right.
And to see that procession again, coming over the hill, coming down the high street, it was just like, wow, I'm not doing this rubbish again, I'm getting involved.
Yeah.
Being a local person, I grew up in Northiam, so knew about Battle Bonfire, obviously.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to stand on the side of the road again or do anything like that. Don't mind helping to put the event on, but no, I was going to be involved. That's what I did.
When you say Ian Botham,
he was at the effigy.
Oh, the effigy.
Right.
Sorry, apologies. Yeah,
that's
Ian
okay.
Botham effigy.
Right.
Before your time.
Much before my time. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting effigy, very loud.
So it would have been, obviously, when in 93 on the Abbey Green. I take it you would have been watching Battle Bonfire as a spectator before?
Well, yeah. So the time only before that was Ian Botham with the effigy. So that was going back to sort of like the mid-80s, early to mid-80s.
Yeah.
And then prior to that was with my family, if we came over. But there was other events we went to as well, which were probably easier for us to get to rather than coming into Battle because of where I lived.
That's fascinating. The what they called the glow
sticks. Well, we had wands and all different random stuff. It was just something that they decided to try. Yes, it did make money, but I think there's not many people going to want to do those on the evening. It's difficult to do fundraising on the night of Bonfire.
Yeah,
and you have to be realistic. You know, if people are too many other jobs to be done, and that's the last thing on people's minds.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Especially the way Bonfire's progressed over the years to where we are now.
Yeah, there's a lot of people marshalling and things. That job is better served doing that than it is selling.
Yeah.
I always, when you say marshalling, I always sort of, because I never, me and Colin was talking earlier about torches, and I said I've not carried a torch at Battle for I don't know how long. And he said, why? I said, because I never walk in it. I said, I always drop out. We're doing bits and bobs, not really anything in particular, just monitoring.
Keeping the lines of three. I always love it when I come down the high street and see you guys stood and I'd give you a little nod.
But then you do the bees, so that's a very
I'm
important
saving
part
my
now.
strength for
It's
the
a
bees.
giant torch.
Yeah, which we had a trial run on Saturday. As I said, if you'd have turned up at the nursery Saturday afternoon at about 3 o'clock, there me, Luke and Chris was walking up and the wind literally was blowing them down. It was not a good trial run.
Gonna do some yoga.
They're heavy.
Strengthen
They're
the
heavy,
core.
yeah. But they're all ready to go.
Are they ready? You wrap them all.
All done and ready, yeah.
Oh, well done.
So is that your favourite part of Bonfire then, Dave, is the procession coming down?
My favourite part of the whole event?
Yeah.
No. From that moment, that's what got me into Bonfire. My favourite, I would say I've got a real favourite part. I like the whole what we do throughout the year. Get together, fundraising, the meetings that we go to. Can't get to every meeting. We do other things. I think I like everything really. I like the whole process that we have to go through to be able to put the event on.
Yeah.
Life.
Yeah, that's a really I'd say the whole thing really.
That sort of goes under the radar a bit, doesn't it? The whole process of how we get to the, because I sort of always think, oh, we're in June, July, and it's like miles away.
Well, people I've spoken to at work have said, have assumed it's like a council. Well, until I educated them that it was a council run thing, that we could just get given the money.
If only.
I wish.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
It's just like nope.
Yeah, but then there'd be so many other parameters involved, wouldn't there?
Yes,
And
there would.
you
And
know,
it's something that
organising your own event means you get to
Yeah.
organise your own event, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
so I had to sit down and just re-educate people on how things work, especially for us anyway.
Which is another reason why we wanted to do this podcast, really, was just to educate people a little bit about what makes Bonfire happen.
Because I think there's so many new people in battle these days that they probably know about the Bonfire, but they don't know about the Bonfire, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They don't know all the history.
They don't know who we are.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice. I think one of the things when I've looked at the episodes, I know people, I know everyone that we've got, but but it's sort of knowing it's almost like the Bonfire all of a sudden is in your front room, like because they're there. This is us.
Chatting
this is
away.
what we do. Come and join. Come and get involved. We're not scary.
Some of us are.
Actually, go back to your question. Actually, one thing I do really like is the following morning.
Yeah, I know you're a big advocate for the clear up, aren't you, Dave?
No, but also the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like getting there to chat to
You have
people.
the chat, and then all the people sort of turn up a little bit jaded.
Yeah.
You know, have I got to do this? And I must admit, it's a lot easier on the road and on the green than it was the battlefield. Picking that battlefield, it took hours and hours and hours.
Oh,
to
picking
do.
the litter, yeah.
But at the end of the day, we had to make it good for in the charities, just like we have to do with the road and the green anyway. But even so, down on the field, it was just a long process.
It's a lot easier to sweep a road than it is a field.
But the following morning is good fun, having a bit of banter. The fire's still burning. Just a general clear up. It's all a bit of
Taking
banter
the
going on with that as
scaffolding
well.
down.
Yeah.
Well, I managed to get down there last year by about 7 o'clock, and Luke got home late. He didn't leave when we left, and I was taking the signs down, and I see Adrian and Mitchell, and I think Nelly was probably there. And they do a great job, don't they?
Yeah.
Because they get there really early.
Yeah, get the blowers out, start
with the
skidding
road
all the thing,
sweeper.
and the road sweeper.
Yeah, and I was actually really impressed. I mean, I've been there, but I don't think I'd ever been down there that early. I was just I don't know. I seemed to wake up and just thought, oh, I'm all right. I can get back down there. But it was really impressive in the early hours of the morning, sort of seeing how everything was sort of just clicking together.
How much had already been done.
Yeah. It was quite I think Adrian they've sort of, because he's done it for a few years, hasn't he, with the leaf blowers and that.
Right,
and it was like they got a little system going.
Yeah.
And they were brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that in so many aspects of Bonfire, isn't it? Everyone has a little system that they do and it just works. wasn't
There was a lot of work done on the night before as well. Obviously, the night of the event as well, after it had finished.
Yeah.
To help with a lot of the clear up as well.
Pushing a broom around on the road. We've touched on that before, and it's
Well, I've
one
only
of the
done
best
it.
jobs in
I've
Bonfire.
only done it one year.
Yeah.
But that's 1 year that you've done it. It's important.
This year, have I made the ballot for the second year?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It's the day before the last meeting. You find out.
Yeah.
But on that, getting in and all the little jobs that people do, you are someone that has notably got involved in so many different aspects of Bonfire. What's driven you to do that, and which one is your favourite one to get involved in?
What event, or just the actual of anything?
Everything. I know you've been involved in torch dipping, the effigy,
I haven't
fireworks.
done torch dipping.
I thought you had.
No, I haven't done torch dipping.
I retract my question.
I've done torch making, but not on the the guys do. I mean, they're out. I think it's a Monday night normally still, and predominantly make all the torches for us to obviously use on the night. I've been able to go up there a couple of times, but unfortunately Monday nights are not possible for me because of work at the moment. But not done torch dipping.
Right, so but torch making.
Yeah, I've done a bit of torch making. When we used to be I've done some faggot making up at the farm when they used to make them up there. I've done torches down when we used to make them in Marley Lane. Again, used to turn up there occasionally and do that. What else have I done? I was fundraising secretary for a while. That was an interesting job. Obviously became chairman. Had support from Matt with that, especially at the SAG meetings, because that was a very different. I'd not done anything like that at all before, even though I've been involved with other groups and things. Never done that before. So Rob was safety officer. So the safety action group, I asked Matt if he could come along just because of his experience that he'd had. Unfortunately, Hannah had moved away by that time, so I couldn't ask her then. So that was obviously helpful for me. He knew the ropes a little bit about what was going on and how to deal with some of the authorities. Yeah, it was. They were okay. I mean, there was always that little bit of, I wouldn't say animosity. It was just they wanted things to be their way. We wanted things to be our way, and there had to be a compromise in the middle. Yeah. So
you've got to build those bridges, haven't you?
Yeah. What else did I done? I did a newsletter for a little while.
Oh, really?
I still have copies of that. I think they only got to about 10 newsletters that we used to issue out. That was it was an interesting task. I did it with one of my mates. He just got a new computer, wanted to try something. I said, do you mind doing this? And we did that for a little bit. But I think it just died a death, really. It's not an easy way to get them out. Not like it would be now.
Us with this.
No, I don't think that's not in the same context. Come on, it's a great job what you're doing. It's important that we do something like this, and I'll explain why a bit later.
So how, since the 90s, Dave, what do you think has changed the most about Bonfire? How has it changed? Do you think it's got bigger or
more structure? I've looked back over the earliest video footage I can find that I personally have of Battle Bonfire is 1986. It's only a very short clipping, but I've got obviously looked at all the videos that I've been able to collect over the time because I like to have a look at those. It's good to have a look back and see what things we did, see what was going on at that particular time. I think we as a society have grown. And I think that's been proven this year with the amount of new people that have got involved with Bonfire and joined as members, which is really good. And that's important to see. I don't know about so much whether there's people in battle that don't know how to join, don't feel that they want to, or not quite sure if it's a bit of a closed group and they wouldn't be made to feel welcome, which clearly is not the case if they want to come along. But that's a different matter, and how we resolve that, I don't know. Bonfire itself, I don't think has changed drastically. Going from the battlefield, going from the green to the recreation ground, that was an interesting moment. I know Ivy, who was our chairman at the time, she put some of her own money into when we were up on the recreation ground, so we could have some extra fireworks that night.
Right.
Yeah, and they were my favourite firework ever, and I don't mind putting that in, a poisonous spider. For people that know what they are, they're incredible, but they're not really made, I don't think, so much now. because we had a token fire still in front of the Abbey,
Right.
Yeah.
and then went up to the recreation ground.
So you're spread out.
Was it on the football pitch, the lower
Yes, it
football
was.
pitch?
Yeah, it was a lower pitch.
Yeah, because I think I was standing in the Aston Fields
because
preschool.
all the public were on the road. They weren't allowed onto the field, and all the societies that came were actually on the top part where we have our fete.
Yeah.
Summer fair, whichever you want to call it.
Big Bonanza, big
Big
weekend.
Bonanza. There's so many names that it's been called
It
over
just
the years.
didn't
We've got to
work
call
up
it one.
there then, Dave.
Pardon?
It just didn't work up there.
I think it was a compromise, really, because we had nowhere else really to go, and the people at the time who were needed to put the event on, which we all were, it was like, where are we going to have it? And I think that was the compromise really for that year. Then after that, it was like, this isn't going to work long term for us. What can we do differently? And then it was then approached the English Heritage, and the battlefield became the place where we were for a while.
Andy's favourite place.
Well, I know, and I know you say I can't change.
I didn't know.
I'm not gonna change.
Anyone
but
can change.
It is fascinating listening to other members' points of view. Just it sounds weird because you sort of think, well, why don't you ask that anyway?
They don't come up these long form
It doesn't
conversations.
come up,
Yeah.
now when
We did.
and listening to how especially when Chris Nolan said about how much like mud and that on the battlefield.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not set up a bonfire on the battlefield, but I sat and I thought, neither have I, but I'm imagining it must be quite bad.
Yeah.
There was one where we had to put extra. I can't think what they're called. They're like metal plates. You almost make another road out of because it was so wet.
I think it's metal tracking, isn't it?
Yes,
I think they've got that down the battlefield as we speak for the reenactment.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
It was so wet one year, unbelievable, and we had to be really careful. There was only so many vehicles were allowed on to be able to get anything on there. So obviously get the fire built, get all the fireworks set up, and that was quite a tricky time for everybody. So there was a lot of hand lumping as well to get all the tubed racks and everything across to get it all set up correctly. And we still have to obviously follow the safety aspect of that to make sure it's right, even though it's a bit of a boggy, muddy field. But I mean, did I like it on the battlefield? Yeah, I think I did. I did also enjoy it on the battlefield. One where it was a good event. We could have a bigger fire. The firework display could be bigger as well. And that's fair. We still had our effigies. A lot of public on the field. But the other thing about the battlefield that was really nice, there was 2 or 3 ways when we first started with how can we get on the field? So I think the first one was we went along Powder Mill Lane and came in at one of the bottom gates and came up across to come towards the fire. But the one that I really liked, and I think if you ever watch a film footage of it, it looks really nice, was coming through the Abbey gates and with the torch procession winding down through to come towards where we had the fire was up on the top end, coming towards the Abbey, and then seeing the procession winding down with obviously the lit torches and coming in on the field there. That looked really smart. That was nice. I think it goes back to a bit of me coming down the high street.
Well, I'm quite lucky because I can remember from the battlefield onwards, and I was going to say earlier, I can remember walking the whole way down Powder Mill Lane, right down to that sort of lower entrance, and then back across. I can remember walking through the gates, but I can remember going in the top entrance, the front entrance, but then sort of towards the end, it was primarily through the Abbey, wasn't it, and down through that way.
It made it easier. I was trying to skirt around the crowd who were trying to get onto the battlefield, so kept that area sterile for the public to then allow the bonfire society to come in a different way.
We used to, my dad would take me and Luke deliberately drive us down, because obviously we wouldn't have been members at this point, but we would walk in the bonfire but not members, and Dad would drive us down Powder Mill just so that we could see the fire. I always remember you could see through the trees, seeing the fire getting built. It was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah, the
bonfire.
were big there.
Absolutely massive.
They were probably the same size as what they used to be on the green.
Really?
I would say, well, the fire, from what I can remember from when I first joined Bonfire, literally the bull ring, the skirt of the bull ring, the fire used to virtually come out right to the edge and then obviously go up from there.
Yeah. That's impressive.
That's a
that's
big
quite
fight.
big.
Yeah, that's impressive.
But it was good. It was good.
Going back a little bit, you say when you were watching the old videos, are there any old traditions that you'd like to see brought back?
Catherine Wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have. If you look at some of them, it was really the fireworks that were available. If you go back, fireworks have developed quite drastically over the last sort of, I'd say, 20, 30 years. And when I first joined Bonfire as well, the fireworks were quite, not basic, but they weren't as elaborate as they are now. But what was really good was in front of the Abbey, we used to have the waterfall, which was always an good old tradition.
I've seen pictures of that.
Yeah, that was always a good tradition. But there was 3 Catherine wheels that used to go off, 2 the traditional Catherine wheel way, and 1 that used to spin this way.
Right.
And they were, I'd like to see those back, because it's an important part of the whole ethos around Bonfire and what it actually means and why that was developed, because it's called the Catherine wheel for obviously having a lady being put on it.
Build on that. I don't know about that.
You don't know about a Catherine wheel?
No. I don't know the history of that at all.
I'm not going to go into all that. It's just, you read it up. Get your Google
Okay,
map out.
well, listeners at home, you do the same thing.
Yeah, but I'd like to see the Catherine wheels back in front of the Abbey. That would be nice, from my point of view.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Never knew that either.
With regards to other traditions, I think we've kept a lot of it anyway. What we do now still is very much the tradition of what Bonfire is in battle. We've added a few bits. I don't think we've taken much away at all, really.
No.
No, I think it's very much as it was, and still continue to be, hopefully.
Yeah, I said it in earlier episodes, didn't I, Ed? I generally think that Bonfire is bigger now than ever, or it seems like that to me. I mean, I admit it's changed. There's a lot of aspects that have changed, but I was really pleasantly surprised at Norvium on Saturday, and I say this as a 35-year-old male. There was a lot of youngsters in the battle ranks, and I was really impressed. Really impressed.
It was nice to see. Yeah.
I just sat there and I thought, now I know perhaps what the older members, the era above me, thought when we was the youngsters walking in it, and I just thought. Colin again said to me, "How was it?" I said it was a good night. Thought it was good, but Battle was very, very well supported again. Yeah, it was very well supported.
We do have a lot of young members coming through as well, which is nice. Yeah.
I mean, apart from you saying about Bonfire and developing it, you've got to look at all the new bonfires that have come up within the last sort of I'd say 30 years. So ones that had stopped, ones that hadn't been at all, ones that have reformed, and starting off again. I think it's going to be tough for some of those. Obviously, had tough starts, just literally to get the event off the ground. But there's more and more, and if you talk to people in local villages, they wish they'd still got their bonfire from when they were young. From when they were youngsters. And I'm talking people my age and older, when they were youngsters, that remember having a bonfire in that particular village. But they realise that it's not as easy to just set up an event like we have. That thankfully ours has been going for such a long time that it's pretty much set in stone about what happens. We've got the people behind us, the next generations learning what people do to actually continue and take it forward. So, I think Bonfire has grown with all the new events that are coming forward and more people wanting to get involved.
Yeah, I mean, we're still getting new members now, aren't we?
Yeah.
At meetings.
And long may that continue.
Absolutely.
That's how it evolves.
It's lovely to see, yeah.
Now, I watched 2 and 6 the other week. It popped up on my social media, and I thought I'll just have a little look through it again. It was a bit of a tough watch. Yeah. 4 people in that are no longer with us.
Yeah.
They're really 4.
So Robert, obviously, was our previous chairman.
Yeah.
And I loved his comment about we still have a nice fire on the green. But he said it's just a bit of a token from what it used to be, which was quite funny. But the important part from him was Bonfire was his favourite membership. He was involved with a lot in Bonfire, in Battle, sorry. But he said Bonfire was definitely my favourite membership. Obviously Lawrence, who where we used to build our effigies and stuff, and he was a great supporter of Battle. Obviously Captain Chris.
Yes. yeah.
And then obviously Mick.
Yeah.
So that was quite a, and why I think the podcast is important is like that, we've captured people's moments in time.
Yeah.
I mean, time stands still for no man.
Yeah.
It's a saying that I've understood for years. You know, I joined Bonfire when I was 26, I'm 57. And I realised that, you know, life is moving on.
Yeah.
And to have those moments in time recorded, and I think that's really important. And things like to hear people's voices,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and how they
absolutely.
are. You know, we have. I've been places where people say, you know, I've got a strange accent, and I don't think, you know, I come from Sussex, but I don't think I've got a strange accent. But then when you hear theirs, you know, and it's sort of, so yes, I think it's important for the podcast to continue to capture people's memories, capture people's just views, and those moments in time which, you know, can't be replaced. And especially watching that 2 and 6, that was very poignant, and that's why.
There's a saying in a couple of things that I watch, and it's giving people their flowers while they can still smell them.
Yeah.
So I like, you know, that sort of aspect of the podcast as well, is that you can show appreciation to people that come on. And
Yeah.
I did want to say to you as well, there's a couple of people have mentioned, I think so far in this series, you've given them a badge. And I know that from my own experience, and Alice as well, you've come up just on a bonfire, like Rye or somewhere, and be like, here you go, guys.
Yeah.
And it's just a badge from times gone by, or like an enamel badge from Rye. And it's a moving thing. It's people from the outside of Bonfire think, what's a badge? But and they know I'm crazy about badges. But it is a big deal, and it's because they're a nice, sentimental little token of just like, there you go, guys. You know, it means a lot.
Badges for me, when I first joined, it was, what's the new badge going to be this year? Is it going to be a new enamel? And they are very collectible. People love them. I mean, I know there's been some have gone to auction houses, and then people have paid ridiculous money. Well, I wouldn't say ridiculous money. They wanted them for that reason because they are part of history. I mean, it's still very much now. You know, you go to another event and someone will say, "Have you got any badges to swap? Do you want to buy one?" I've got a Robert Spruge 35-year anniversary enamel.
Yeah, I saw one of those at Northiam.
At Northiam, and that would go, you know, happily on my. With all the rest of the ones that I've collected over time.
Yeah.
So, I do like
we have got Dad's old badges, and so I think we've got a Battle 89 one, and there's a Cliff 92 one, and we refused to bring it because mine specifically, I think because of the bag strap where we have my cans of drinking, pings them off.
Yeah.
And I'm like you, Dave, when you just said. When you joined, you wanted to get the new badge for the next year, and I was very much like that, and I always had them, tried to keep them updated. Now I collect them, but I'm a bit iffy about wearing them. I almost the older ones I take off and put the newer ones on.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I know like the newer ones there's more of.
Yeah,
but we left on Saturday, and I sat there and I said to Louise, I've not put half the badges that I've bought this year, mainly from you. I've not put half of them on. And I'm looking at my cap, and we're all sitting in the Redneck Inn, and Luke's like, what badges have you got on your cap? And I said, well, Luke, we're supposed to have the same. And he's gone, well, where's your one of this? And where's your one of that? And I'm like, it's fallen off.
Lost in time.
And it's really sort of sad when you lose them. And then
it is.
I actually went through a 1 year. Louise got really quite grumpy with me because I remember specifically walking through Hastings Old Town, and I kept taking off my Battles member badges from years ago because they were just like different colours, weren't they?
That's right, yeah.
And of course, like they'd be like 5 or 6 years old, and I'd be taking them off, passing them to like a child that was in the crowd and things like that. And in the end, Louise was like, you're not going to end up with you're going to end up with no badges. And I thought, that's a good point. So now I get a little bit protective to the point that I don't wear them.
I mean, a lot of people don't wear them. They keep them. They put them on like like the shape of the banner there.
Yeah.
Smaller versions, or the other good one is memory boxes. You know, like the boxes you can put ribbon down in them, so they keep them all. You know, nice.
I don't actually actively seek out, because each society has like a badge seller. Do they? I think
so they used to. I don't know if that's still the case.
And like with ours for our yearly badge, I think Angie Maskell has them. or you have your badges, Ed.
I've got the my bastard badges.
But like if I go to an away meeting, I will always, I don't actively seek out who's selling the badge, but if I notice someone's got them, I'll be like, oh, I'll just grab their yearly badge.
As I've got sort of like older going through the site, I prefer to collect the enamels now.
Yeah.
Some of those they can be so elaborate on how they're made. Where unfortunately the what I call the tin badges, the round ones, they go rusty. And then that's a bit of a problem there, because I think I've got the Robertsbridge set at home of the chant. Cool. Each year they bought one out with a bit of the chant on it.
I'm jealous now, Dave.
So each year they bought one out, with a piece of the chant on it, and I've managed to collect all of those.
Really?
That was a pretty special set.
I've got. Have you got the Staple Cross? Have got an enamel badge, like a white one, like quite a big shield type thing. It's quite a big one, and for some reason I really like that. It's just got their logo on it, but I've lost a couple of enamel badges. I do like the enamel badges.
We've spoken about doing one, haven't we, Dave?
Yeah, we need to get some more new ones made up and
for next year,
styles.
I think.
Yeah,
380 years.
My dad was given I think it was Bill Bridges that gave it to him, and I'm pretty sure it was Guy Fawkes, and underneath it had a BBB, just said BBB.
Yeah, they were done for the 400th anniversary. There was only 50 of them made.
So Dad had one, lost it.
I thought it was 380 this year. Was it 480 this year?
No, of the
It was the 400th anniversary of the
actual gunpowder
plot.
plot.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. There was only 50 there made. That was a bit of a mishap, to be fair. Only 50 being made. We could have made so much more, and but I know that I haven't, unfortunately, seen again. That's pewter as well. I haven't seen the guy who actually made those
really
for us.
That Dad, it just fell off. It just fell off. Just fell off his jacket.
Someone's got it somewhere.
Someone has got it.
I picked up somebody's member badge, BBB member badge at Northiam. I've still got it. If somebody comes forward, I'll give it to him. I'm not holding it ransom.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Right, let's go to the quick fire. Your favourite away bonfire?
That's a really tough one because I like so many, but for different reasons. I'm going to go with my earliest one that I can remember going to. That would be Staple Cross.
Yeah.
Rye, actually. They were the two that predominantly I used to go to when I was very, very small with Mum and Dad.
I did let Tommy have two, so you can have two.
Yeah, I will then. Rye and Staple Cross.
Your favourite costume?
Oh, God, again, that's going to be really tricky. I'm going to say my Saxon costume.
Yeah.
And the reason why was, if people don't know, Mike and Marion were part of Bonfire a few years ago. Unfortunately, they both passed away. But Marion said to me one day, because I said to her, I want to make some chainmail. She said, well, Mike's is here. Do you want to look at how it was done? She said, I know the principle of how he made it. And I'm like, okay, let's have a look at it. And so, it's made out of galvanised wire. And literally you have two bits of wood with a bar going across. And you basically, I had a rod made, you put in a drill, you get galvanised wire, put it with a little hole in it, put it in a drill and make a long spring. Cut each spring up, so you've got lots of rings and a pair of pliers and on this thing. And I copied his pattern. I just sat there with it all laid out on the floor one day, counting each ring and how many you had to go across, and sat and made one. It took me about 3 months, a couple of hours a night, just knitting wire together and then going back across the other way. So I'm going to say that with the chainmail, although the chainmail, as I've got older, does seem to get heavier and heavier.
But it does look phenomenal.
So I'm going to say our Saxon costume, and for the reason that I made the chainmail.
Yeah, it's worth the effort you put into it. Bonfire or fireworks?
Definitely bonfire. I still think we have the most traditional bonfire that's made, and the guys that make it, I hold my hat up to them. They do a superb job.
They do.
And I'm going back to when I first started, and the people that I used to see people climb up step up the fire, because you could do that with a really wide one as well. So they would literally just walk up it to be able to get things up with the ladders as well, but to get things as they're going higher up it.
Right, yeah.
So I definitely think bonfire first, although I love fireworks as well, but
of
bonfire
course.
Definitely.
Your favourite effigy?
Again, many of them. I'm going to go for T-Rex.
Same as Alice, yeah.
Yeah, because I thought that was so stylised for what it was.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm going to go for 2 as well. I don't know, because I want to.
Yeah, it's fine. There are no rules, really.
No, there is no rules. So T-Rex definitely first. And then the second one would be, I think it was Mark Oldroyd's first. I'm not sure if it was his first effigy, but I'm a bit of a sucker for a Guy Fawkes.
Yeah.
And I think he made an amazing Guy Fawkes. And I've still got a photograph of it at home, coming sideways down the high street on the trailer, and it was taken in front of a group of houses. It's just the way that he did it. It was the shoulders version.
With the big moustache.
Big moustache, yeah. And I thought that was good fun. But I think, to say, I think every effigy that we've actually done within our society has got its fantastic points.
Yeah.
They're all predominantly for what they are. But I think the T-Rex just stood out for me. But I've loved all of them.
Yeah.
And if you watch one of our videos, there's a very drunk man silhouetted, waving at Tinky Winky when Tinky Winky's being blown up. He's just saying, "Bye-bye, Tinky Winky," in a very drunken voice. And it's moments like that you think, "Oh, it's bonkers," but brilliant.
Yeah, they live in your mind.
Yeah.
Favourite banner?
Our Skull and Crossbones. It's probably because it was the first one I got to carry.
Yeah.
And that was, Skull and Crossbones, because I got to carry that first.
Yeah.
Not the first person to ever carry it, but that was the first banner I carried at an event.
That's nice, yeah. Favourite badge?
Our old round enamel ones.
Yeah, I've seen them, yeah. Alice has got one. Nan gave her.
Again, when I first joined Bonfire, they were the enamel badge that we had. And there was a set of those that come out. I like the shields that we have done as well, which are based on obviously on the banner style. I think most enamels have got throughout all different societies, have got a really nice feel about them, look about them. But yes, they're definitely the first round enamels.
The best fundraiser to be a part of?
I'm going to say the Bonanza.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think everybody comes together for that. I think it's... and most people want to try and do something towards fundraising throughout the year, but I think that's the one where it draws a lot of people in. I think, from my point of view, I prefer it as it is now. It's a little bit than what we used to do the whole weekend, maybe. That was just I think a little bit too long.
Bit too testing
we're
for
giving
everybody.
our time at the end of the day as well. And we've got to be mindful that there's only so much time people can give through the year and through a particular couple of days, maybe. So, yes, it's nice to have events, and it was at that time it was good, but I think to actually have it as we have it now is better.
Yeah. You've probably done many of them, but is there a role that you would like to try within Bonfire that you haven't already?
Not really, no.
No, fair enough.
To be honest, I've done fundraising. Give Alice her due with that. She's doing a tremendous job. I know you help her, in fairness.
A great deal.
Do. Yeah, come on, don't big yourself up. Go on. But she's the spokesperson for fundraising, so I'm going to give it to Alice. She does a great job with that, and is actually enhancing what we do and bringing more people in. So she's always asking people if they want to help, and hopefully people are responding to that and giving her the support that she needs. And it's just fresh ideas as well. And if anyone has any ideas about fundraising, speak to Alice, and if we can maybe work together and put something on.
Abbey Green or Battlefield?
Abbey Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, again, from when I first started, just the logistics of the whole event, being in front of the Abbey. Again, as I said, looking back through the videos of the bits, like the old waterfall, the Catherine Wheels. I think it's just a better place. And for us, it is. Not so much for the public. They have to do their own thing and try and find a space that they can watch.
They only have one viewing place, don't they? Which is
they do, really, but we do give them options that you can see. If it's just, a lot of people just come for the firework display.
They do, yeah.
And then you can go up to the the car parks and Market Square to actually see that. But to me, it's the whole event, and I think definitely the Battlefield. The Green.
The Abbey Green. It's a lovely stage, isn't it?
Yeah.
And finally, Member of the Year.
No, I'm going to do something that's a little bit different, and I'm going to put it to every person that pays their membership.
Yeah.
To me, that's
a very balanced opinion, but I do agree with you.
It is a balanced opinion, but I'm going to put it as, so out of all those people, some people are able to do a lot to help put the event on. Some people are able to come along and do all the fundraising and come to all the meetings. Some people aren't. So if all one person does is just pay their membership, they may not even come to the event.
Yeah,
no.
But it helps put on the event.
It does,
but I'm
yeah.
Put
it's a good
everybody
answer.
that pays their membership.
It is a good answer.
That's important.
I'll only allow it from you. If anybody else tries that, I'm not having it.
No, that's fair. But I think it's, I've thought about, because obviously I've seen some of the other podcasts. And I've thought about that as for me, it's people that pay their membership.
It's a good answer, Dave, because it's tricky, isn't it, that we're doing the podcast, and I wouldn't want people to think, because we talk about the working members, but obviously I'm assuming like any other organisation, they would have working members or active members and non-active members, and I'd just like to say that non-active members are just as important, you know, and because I know what it's like, if they can sort of feel like, but we don't really want to get involved, or not keen to get involved, and it's fine.
Well, or they're not ready yet. I mean, I was a member for 2 or 3 years before I did anything.
You know, obviously, I know we need volunteers that are going to do things, but I think that comes in time. You know, people can slowly sort of, well, hopefully by watching this, maybe think, you know what, they're not too bad, those two lads.
We've got new members that have joined this year. I mean, you know, it's encouraging them to want to get involved with something. They may want to, they may not want to at the moment. And some of them you've got to feel your way into. You've got to get to know people.
Exactly that.
Get to chat to people. I mean, we've got, there's people in the society that do stand up a little bit more above others just for the things that they do. But I still think, I'm going to stick by that it's the membership.
Absolutely.
No, that is completely fair, And like, it's not to try and segregate anybody or make anybody feel awkward or anything.
I don't think it is the way. And I've seen obviously the others, and people have actually mentioned individuals, which is fair. And those individuals do, you know, that's fine. But it's just my opinion that is the important part. And it's like I said, going back to when COVID kicked in, we gave people the option to pay their membership or not, even though knowing that they weren't going to have.
I remember that.
Even though we weren't going to have an event. If you did, you did. If you didn't or couldn't feel that you couldn't at that time because it was, then that was fine as well. You know, everyone's come back together the following year, and we put on a great event. You know, after COVID.
Well, like Andy said, I think it made us stronger as a society. You know, we came back.
It was a tough time. Well, as we said earlier, throughout the world. World stood still.
It did,
You did a good job guiding us through that, Dave. A very good job, because you know, it's
no one had ever done it before. There was no playbook to follow.
There was no rules and regulations by it, was there? We had to just, in a way, we had to wing it a little bit. And what can we do? And I think everybody supported each other with what we could and couldn't do, knowing that there would be a future. And the future's been bright since, I think.
It has, considering we've had like 3, or do we have 2 wet bonfires? About one.
Afterwards.
We had one of them was a storm, wasn't it? You remember that?
And by the time it got to the event, the wind had died down. The bonfire burnt as it should have done. The torches were, as they always are, incredibly good. And it was absolutely fine. So, there's no problem with that at all.
Well, we always said it will go ahead in some capacity. We may have to cut bits, but we'll see. We'll see. And we did, and we persevered, and it was fine.
Exactly.
Well, we haven't asked the question that we're supposed to ask everybody about your fondest bonfire memory. We may have already touched on it.
Prior to bonfire was obviously the coming up over the hill, as they say, and coming down the high street.
Well, I thought when you said it, I thought maybe we've
incredible. I'm going to go for a very, very old memory. Very silly. I was a child, and I don't care if anyone being a child. We all been there. Going to Rye Bonfire, getting a black helium balloon with a white skull and crossbones on it, and coming home. And then the following morning, it was still inflated, and getting a ball of mum's wool, tying it to the bottom of the string, and seeing how high I could get my balloon.
Nice.
Silly thing, but it was a poignant part of my childhood, going to a bonfire with my mum and dad, and getting given a gift. And then, it was just silly. Oh, and the other thing as well was the burning boat that used to go up through the high street in Rye.
Really?
Well,
they used to send
they
it
used to
going.
actually have a burning boat go through Rye High Street.
Wow, that sounds cool.
So Battle has definitely got to be the first time I saw that procession after all those years from the Ian Botham up till then, coming over that high street, and that was just an incredible time. And then going back onto the green.
Yeah, of course.
For the first time back on the green again. That was for good fun.
Just letting the team down there.
A little bit. We'll ignore it.
That's all right. What about? I don't know whether I think we're allowed to talk about it, and I think I'm getting at the why Battle dress as convicts. I'm sure we'd be allowed to mention it.
There wasn't anything too drastic. I mean, it was Battle from what I've been told. Now the story could be diluted. It could have been expanded. That Battle Bonfire boys, the girls involved with that, we use BOYES as everyone knows, were at Rye one year, and the guys were accused of doing something which they didn't do.
Right.
What that actually was, I still don't really have the full story behind that. Excuse me. The following year, when they went to Rye, as they were coming off the coach, they were literally being taken off by the police and put into Rye cell. Just for the evening, and then let on the coach to come back. Again, whether this is a diluted story, maybe you might need to speak to a few of the people that were actually around more at that time, because that was obviously before my time of being involved with Bonfire. So the guys thought, well, okay, if we want to be treated like that, then we're going to dress like that. And that's where I think the convict costume actually came from.
Right.
Predominantly because of an incident that happened in Rye that they were accused of that they didn't actually do. And I think that everyone now wears the convict costume to Rye. I think there's very few people that don't, just for that reason.
Yeah.
It's a bit of fun and a bit of poke back, really.
You see the costume everywhere, don't you? I was looking on Saturday night, and you just survey the fire site, and it's such a standout costume because of the colour, obviously. I mean, you see the smuggler jumpers with all their colours, but because there's so many stripy jumpers, and then all of a sudden a convict one seems to stand out.
It gets accused of being an easy costume, but I see some of the work that some people put into theirs, and dyeing your own costume is not. Well, it is easy, but it's in some people are like, they're a bit worried about it.
Louise has had to redo her costume this year. She will not sit there and say it's been easy to remake her costume.
No. No, I agree.
Just dyeing the clothes, But not only that, Adrian was saying to me about where he was getting some for Mitchell, and he said, "Where do you get white sort of clothes from there?" And I just went, just off Amazon or eBay. And I typed it in, and I thought, he's got a point, actually.
A lot of it is becoming harder to get those items.
Quite hard.
They've got to be cotton as well.
The only thing you can get away with, and it's still available for jackets, would be lab coats.
Yeah.
You can still get lab coats, although they would be a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And then look up cotton workwear, which is like what cotton workwear, or white jeans you can dye as well.
See, I got some white dungarees, which I'm quite a big fan of.
Yeah.
I'm actually on my second convict jacket.
I'm on my first convict jacket that I made in '94.
Really?
Wow.
Still got the first jacket. Trousers not so much. My 32 waist went quite a few years ago.
My first convict jacket somehow ended up burnt.
Right.
I wasn't wearing it. It somehow ended up with a massive hole in the back of it.
Right.
I think I'd taken it off to put on my red overalls for when we did the fireworks, and it ended up somewhere.
The one used to have the black T-shirt underneath.
Correct.
Yeah,
Dave.
sewed onto it.
Yeah. Burnt a massive hole in it. But other than that, I've got the same jacket. It's the same as my brother's. If you look at Luke's, it's quite funny. I think Luke's got it's still his original jacket that he made when he was younger. And if you look at the amount of arrows are on it, it's quite laughable because they're everywhere. Yeah. Because I remember him doing it. It was like, you need some on this side of the sleeve and that side.
Right, yeah.
But obviously, when you put it on, you're like, why have you got so many arrows on there?
Yeah.
But
I was quite particular when I made mine. I I've got a stamp. I borrowed a stamp at the time. And I sat there and used and painted each one, so it looked really nice.
Yeah, well, that's
Made
what we
it
have to do.
last.
We have to stamp it, and then you get the outline, and then you have to paint it
And I
on.
like to paint it.
That's exactly what we do. Yeah, that's exactly what we do.
And then I think on the back of mine, I've got our old style skull and crossbones with the BBB. And then when Peter wanted his done, I painted the guy on the back of his.
Nice.
Oh, that's really good.
I've been painting a leather jacket.
Have you?
I'll show you after the episode. I'm pretty proud of it.
Okay, that's cool.
I think that's it, Dave. I think we're...
Yeah, I think we've got a...
Pleasure, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
It was good to have a chat.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. That was lovely.
Yeah, good.
Like and subscribe if we're still public. If we're not, also like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And yeah, put your favourite bonfire memories in the comments. We will give a little care package to our favourite one. I'm sure we will. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Dave.
Thank you.
That was good, Dave.
Good. I think that'll be the easiest one to edit, Dave.
Yeah.
You just